Welcome back, everybody. Now, in the past, I've done collections of useless products. I've done collections of useful products. Today, I've got 4 gadgets that I'm not sure where they fall, but I'm sure they're going to belong to one of those groups. So let's take a look at the 4 contenders. We have this popular Yeti Can Insulator, a Dino Egg Mold. It's not a car battery washer, it's actually a wine drip ring, and these wine wings that keep your wine safe. Which ones will end up being useful or useless? Let's find out as we get to the first test. Let's take a look at this Yeti Rambler Colster Can Insulator. I paid 25 bucks for this. It currently has a 4.8 star rating among over 27,000 reviews on Amazon, and it's an Amazon's choice. They say it's good for tailgating, barbecues, triple-digit temperatures, and 12-ounce cans. It includes a lock and load seal right there that requires a quarter turn to seal it up. Double wall vacuum. They say it's rugged, won't crack or chip, and dishwasher safe. Now, I was thinking about how to test this out. I definitely have triple digit temperatures in July in Vegas. I've also got plenty of 12-ounce cans, but I'm not sure how meaningful results will be when you test it by itself. So let's bring in some competitors and see how it actually stacks up. Next up, from 2020, I reviewed this one. This is the Toadfish Can Cooler. Now, even though it's 4 years old, I barely use it, so it's like new. This one also is a double wall vacuum insulated can cooler, and this one won't tip over. It doesn't have the fancy seal though, but they are both double wall vacuums, so that should be interesting. But we're not stopping there. I also have one of these cheap foam koozies. This is from one of my favorite bands, Good Tiger. It came with an album I bought, so I didn't actually pay for this, but these are pretty common designs. A lot of people sell these. So I'm gonna place a can in here as well, and I'm gonna go on commando with nothing and see how it actually stacks up. So let's grab some 12-ounce cans and get started. All right, I've got a bunch of these Coke Spice laying around that nobody's drinking, and I figured this would be good to test these out. They just came right out of the fridge. Let's take a quick temperature check here. As you can see, they are all around the same temperature, which is, I'm getting readings anywhere from the upper 30s to the upper 40s here. Let's load these up now. Well, we're setting one aside. It's going to go commando, so we'll put that over here. Next up, the Good Tiger koozie. Feels nice. Let's go with the Toadfish next. It just slid right in there, and the star of the show, the Yeti. Let's see what happens. Now we have our, they say load and lock, but I prefer lock and load. All right, they're all ready to go. Let's go outside in the triple digit temperature and see what happens. All right, here are all 4 of them, all facing south. This is the Commando Coke, the foam koozie, the Toadfish, and the Yeti. I'll check back about every half hour, and then when they're starting to get warm, I'll bring them inside. Ready to check, Bailey? Let's go see what happens. All right, let's check these out. Now, it's too bright for my thermal imager, so we'll have to use this thermometer here. Checking the tops of these cans here, we've got a 77, 71, 67, and 67. All right, so I'm gonna take these inside, pour them out, and see how the content measures. All right, here we go. Let's try the thermal imager now that we're inside. All right, the Commando can of soda is pretty warm. Looks like we kind of have hot spots, but it's in the 80s. The foam koozie, it looks like it's 74, 69. A little bit of coolness there. The outside of this koozie is hot, 70, 82, but the top of the can is 69. The outside of the Yeti, also pretty warm, but the inside of the can, pretty cool as well. Let's take these out of here and do another quick measurement. All right, we've got 4 naked cans here. Let's try this temperature one more time. We already looked at the Commando Coke. That's roughly 77 degrees. Now the foam cooler looks like it's low 70s. The Toadfish, oh, mid 60s, nice and cool. Even low 60s toward the bottom. And the Yeti, once again, also looks very close to the 51. All right, so measurements are all over the place. All we can do now is do the pour test and test the temperature of the liquid inside. First up, Commando Coke. A nice room temperature, 79 degrees. We'll do the mouth test to verify. Room temperature Coke. Not that I expected much, but that's what I'm getting. Next up for the foam cool. Now this one feels cool. The foam koozie. We're in the mid to upper 60s, so not terrible really. Mouth check. Drinkable, not cold, but cool. Now time for the Toadfish. That feels kind of cool on the outside. It feels colder towards the bottom than the top, but that's understandable. I'm seeing a 59 to 60 degrees, nice and chilly, considering it was sitting out in over 100 degree weather for half an hour. Even better. Now for the star of the show. It's all come down to this. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Now this feels nice and cold. And drum roll please. We have 58 to 60, so it looks like it's pretty close to the toadfish, but it won by just a whisker. I think the Yeti just edged out the toadfish by just a hair. It was a photo finish, but I think the Yeti actually won this one. I should point out it is 104 degrees in Las Vegas right now, so it's nice and warm outside. And to leave it in direct sunlight for a half an hour, both the double wall insulated koozies did well. I think the Yeti just did a hair better. So I don't know, I think being the same price, you can't go wrong with either one. But since the Yeti is the star of the show, I've got to say that the Yeti cooler does work. Here are the wine drip rings. I paid $6.95 for these. 4.4 star rating on Amazon with only 22 reviews. Let's take a little closer look at one of these here. Now these seem like pretty generic felt gaskets that maybe been repurposed or something else. That's what they feel like at least. But they claim that it redefines your wine drinking experience. No more spills or stains. The absorbent material will supposedly catch every drop of wine in the bottle. Ideal for wine tastings, fancy dinners, or just drinking at home. Not a lot of reviews for this one, so we'll have to see how it goes. Let's try these wine rings now. This should be pretty easy to test out. So I've got 3 cheap bottles of wine here. Cheap because I don't want to waste expensive wine, and this is the bottle that matters, not what's inside. So what I'm going to do here is pour some glasses. I've got each on a piece of white paper, so whatever drippage we have, we'll see pretty easily. So for the one in the center, we're going to do the star of the show, which are the wine rings. This one over here is just going to kind of go as is. And over here, I'm going to use one of these car battery anti-corrosion washers that looks a lot like the wine rings. They look similar. So I'm going to use one of those and see how it works. I should also point out that these are meant to be disposable, not really reusable. Cheap bottle of wine. Uses a screw cap, that's the good stuff. Placing the wine ring on the bottle, and it looks like it's not going on that easily. Some people on Amazon said they didn't fit very well. It's not fitting very well. It's already not fitting very well. All right, it's over the main part. There we go. That is how it looks. Let me put one of these battery washers on the other bottle. These were cheaper, by the way. I think this was like 12 pack for like $5. What do you know? It works too. It works too. And this bottle is going commando. Hopefully we'll get some nice little bit of drippage. I'll kind of go back and forth so we get as much dripping out as possible. Now for the commando bottle, let's kind of pour it back and forth. Now for the battery washers, let's try that one as well. I'm going to keep pouring. All right, I've been trying to pour these as sloppily as possible. Let's take a closer look and see what we got. On the commando bottle, we have wine that dripped all the way down the side of the bottle. So that is not good, but to be expected. Now the battery washer did catch some wine, and there's none down here. Clean as a whistle. The wine rings did catch some. Quite a bit went down there as well. Nothing went down the side, and the bottom is clean as well. The battery washer is kind of damp right here, so it did catch some wine. The wine ring, which is actually harder to get off. You can't see it because it's red, but it is damp here as well. The wine rings worked. The battery washers worked as well. And with nothing, we did have drippage. So as far as the wine rings go, they do work. So they could be useful to some people, but they're not the only game in town, and they look like repurposed car battery washers. I'm kind of on the fence of how useful this is, but I do think some people will find that it does work, as long as it fits your bottle. Let's take a look at this Egg-O-Matic Dinosaur Egg Mold. I paid $7 for this, although the last time I checked it was $13. It currently has a 4.4 star rating among over 1,100 reviews, also an Amazon's choice. We've got some microscopic instructions and the mold itself. Looks pretty basic. Let's crack this open here. Well, there's not much to it, but that's a mold, all right. That is a mold. And the instructions start off about how to hard boil an egg, which I think I got that down already. Place it in the ice bath for a few seconds, add it to the mold, and then put the mold back in the ice bath or the fridge. That should be pretty easy. I've got some eggs on the stove right now, so as soon as they're done, we'll get started. All right, they say put an ice bath for a few seconds. Let's do that. The word few is kind of ambiguous, but I'll put in about 10 seconds. All right, that's probably good enough. Next up, we peel the hard-boiled egg. Nicely peeled, warm hard-boiled egg. Now for the magic here. Open up the mold, placing the egg in the mold, closing it up, snapping it. Locked and loaded dinosaur egg. Now they say back into the ice bath. Stopwatch is going. We'll come back in 15 minutes for the big reveal. We're actually a little over 9 minutes, and I was reading these instructions over again, and I kind of misread them. They are pretty small, and I should have my reading glasses, but it says return to the ice bath for a few minutes or place in the fridge for 15. So I've been in the ice bath for almost 10 minutes, so it should be done by now. Let's see. Taking the mold out of the ice bath. Now for the big reveal. Will it work? Hopefully, probably. And the big reveal. Oh, it looks pretty good. It does look like a dinosaur skull. Both sides do. It's, you know what, not bad. Not too bad. Side one, side two. I'm just trying to think of who would actually use this on a regular basis. Maybe someone who has a kid who likes hard-boiled eggs but wants them to be more fun. I don't know. The Amazon listing says for fussy eaters, but I don't really think I would give a fussy eater a hard-boiled egg. Everybody's different, right? I do think it works. Maybe useless, but also a little bit fun as well, so I don't know. If they hadn't jacked the price up, I think it would be a pretty good deal. 13 bucks, that's a bit steep. These are wine wings. I paid $21.95 for a 4-pack. It currently has a 4.7 star rating on Amazon out of over 1,600 reviews. It's also currently an Amazon's choice. Let's take a look at one of these wings here. It kind of has that new pool floaty smell to it. Now they say it offers triple protection for your wine bottle with a double Ziploc and Velcro seal. Includes thick durable plastic and an inner bubble bag. They say it's ideal for wine, beer, spirits, olive oil, even perfumes or fragile glass. They say they can pack flat and also be reused. I'll be curious to see how these actually work. I'm gonna do a drop test. I don't really know how much to compare it to. Every drop's gonna be different depending on how it lands. I'm just gonna see if it's seems like it's working, so that's all we can really do. Here we go. I'm gonna start really low, work my way up. First drop, a couple inches off the ground. That didn't sound very padded. I guess the other test is how leak-proof this is when it breaks, because it's probably gonna break. All right, so that was a couple inches, a couple more inches. Here we go. Oh. It broke. It broke. Is it leaking? That's the most important thing. Is it leaking? It is not leaking. Let's try the Velcro side here. Velcro side is not leaking. Oh, it is leaking. It is leaking. Oh, it's leaking. It is leaking. Oh man, I'm disappointed. I thought for sure this was gonna work. Maybe that was an unfair test. I don't know. I should probably stop this from leaking on the floor though. All right, so that was kind of a disappointment, but one thing I was noticing when I was unboxing this is there's not a lot of bubble wrap in there. They have an inner layer of bubble wrap and an outer layer of bubble wrap, so 2 layers of it. And that's pretty thin bubble wrap. So I was wondering what would happen if I add another layer of protection on my own. Let's see what happens there. So what happens if we take our bottle of wine and add a little extra protection to it? Let's try that. All right, I've got it in bubble wrap here. Let's see if I can fit that in a wine wing. Oh, it's gonna fit. Oh, it's gonna fit. I think it's gonna fit. Get in there. It's definitely a tight squeeze. Can I close it up? We already know it's not gonna be leak proof. Well, I did get it closed, but it's definitely not leak proof. The ends are kind of just sticking out. But let's try dropping it from the same height as before and see if we can have it not shatter. All right, let's start from the bottom again. Oh, it feels much more bouncy. Oh, I think we're gonna have success. It's gonna eventually break. Here we go. Oh, here comes Bailey. Bailey's got to investigate. Bailey, you can't have any of this. This is wine. All right, let's try it. This is the height I dropped it at before. And, oh, we have success. We beat the last record. How much higher can I go? It was here last time. Now we're going up here. Oh, we broke it. It didn't gain me much. I didn't gain much even putting bubble wrap on there. Oh man, I think some impacts are just gonna be too much for almost any kind of packing. There's too many variables to really test them all. I don't think there's a lot of bubble wrap in there, but even adding more, it still didn't make a difference, so I don't know. There were people on Amazon that said they didn't really work that well. Your mileage may vary, and my mileage really isn't that far. All right, so in the end, I would say in the useful category, we definitely have the Yeti. I can see why it's so popular. It works quite well. The wine wings could be potentially useful, but they're not the only game in town. Now, the wine wings I also think are potentially useful in some situations, but it has limits. It failed the drop test. It even failed the drop test when I had more bubble wrap around it. It's one of those things that your mileage may vary. It probably is going to be better than just leaving it in your suitcase by itself, but I wouldn't have extraordinarily high expectations. Now, the Dino Egg Mold, definitely useless, but it did work as advertised. I'm not sure who's going to go out of their way to get one of these, but if you do, it does actually work. But that's all I've got. If you've tried any of these products, tell me what you think in the comments below. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.